Welcome to My Penang, My Workplace Career Exploration Week. And this is an initiative by Invest Penang and Job Street, Malaysia, in collaboration with Penang State Government. And I'm glad today we have the discussion on unveiling the winning formula. And let me introduce myself. I'm Chandra. I'm the Regional Employee Relations and Human Resources Operation Manager from AMD, which is known as Advanced Micro Devices from Penang. And today we have speakers, three wonderful speakers who I'd like to introduce. The first is Yeoh Siew, the Manager of People Management HR, Vitrox Corporation Berhad. And I have Grace Low, APAC and Penang Talent Acquisition Manager from National Instrument. And the third one, I have Gan So Chat, HR Vice President from Teleperformance. Welcome to the session today. And as I introduce the topic today, so we're going to talk about the unveiling the winning formula, which will be helpful to the job seekers to understand what. And here today we have all these experts from the HR field. So we bring you a lot of information and tips for you to prepare for how to do well when you're hunting career jobs, right? So without much ado, I would like to start with introduction, speaker's introduction. So over to you, Miss Yeoh.
Okay, thank you, Chandra. Hi, everyone. Good day. I'm Yeoh Siew. I'm from Vitrox. Okay, I studied business management in a local college and also an ICSA graduate. ICSA stands for Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators. During the earlier days of my career, I was involved in providing corporate secretarial services to private limited companies. After a few years, I find it quite boring. So I decided to make a change for myself because I'm always keen to try things that I'm interested in. So happened that time my friend started an education business and recruited me to run the operation. I was involved in recruitment, accounting, administration, teaching, and resource management. In year 2002, I decided to take up a career in human resources and join a local retail company in Penang. In year 2010, I joined Vitrox in our previous campus 1.0 in Ban Lepas before we moved to Batu Kawan here in year 2018 due to our expansion. Vitrox is the leading company in providing total machine vision solutions in Malaysia. I'm involved in talent acquisition, talent management, compensation and benefits, IR, etc. I enjoyed doing career fairs and career talks in universities and colleges. We also host students visit in our campus and sometimes arrange them to attend our machine vision course. We organize and sponsored some national competitions like Innovate Malaysia to continuously inspire more students to take up machine vision. During my free time, I enjoy doing volunteer work and helping others. I'm involved in charity sales, for example, helping Eden Handicap and the autistic children to raise funds every year. I also volunteer myself in WCC, which stands for Women's Center for Change, that helps women and children who are abused or sexually assaulted. Besides, I'm also involved in volunteering in WCC Value Shop that sell pre-loved items to support WCC's work.
Hey, thanks, Siew, for your. That's also really to know about so many things within the short 2 minutes given to you. So, thanks for the information. So, over to you, Grace.
Oh, good day and hello, everyone. I'm Grace. I'm the Talent Acquisition Manager for Asia Pacific in NI. I graduated from Bachelor of Industrial Technology and ventured into HR. I would say it's by chance, but I fell in love with my job in talent acquisition. I was still fresh. I remember I was still fresh out of university and I'm looking for a career path. I know that, I want to work with people. That's how I got into very first career, very first job as a recruiter researcher. And from there, I like it because I'm able to use my technical background when I understand the job's requirements, and as well as when I talk to candidates. And in 2012, I joined NI, which is a automated system, software connected company. And from there on, that's how my career grew from talent acquisition manager in Penang, and right now to Asia Pacific. Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks, Grace. So you shows that it's not important where you start. So where you now is more important, right? So I think your career background versus what you're doing now, that's tell a lot of things to this.
Yes.
I think that you can share more, yeah, when we come to the Q&A session.
Yeah, definitely.
So the only, I would say, that rose among the thorn. Should I say that? So today we have Mr. Gan. So Gan, so over to you. A quick introduction about yourself.
Sure. Less interesting than the earlier two profiles that shared, right? So I majored in psychology many years ago. So I'm slightly different. I'm a traditional HR. So I started my first career HR 25 years ago until today. Not much option. Don't have the guts to explore other functions. So continue my career in HR, but covered many spectrum of HR. Can be a common band, regional HR, end-to-end kind of a generalist, specialist, whatever. So I think good exposure for myself, and also good opportunity that I served multiple industry before, and currently leading the HR team in Teleperformance. And again, I think take opportunity today also to thank Invest Penang and also the Job Street. So again, I think those job seekers now listening to this, you should be not too familiar, depends where you are. We continue to have advertisement in Job Street. So again, let me brief in a simple summary, who are we in the industry, right? We are in BPO, slightly different from two earlier speaker, business process organization. And currently we have 2 campuses coming in, the 3rd campus soon in next year. So we have close to 1,600 employees and pretty diversified, meaning that out of 1,600, our close to 50% are foreigners that we hired, because on the MSc status, we do bring in the skilled workers. And mainly for us, we are particular in language because we are providing a lot of services to our global client, brand or client. Then currently we have close to 15 to 16 nationality working in Teleperformance. So it's a very diversified cultural inclusion in terms of no matter your age, your profile, we blend together as one company. So I think slightly new kind of flavor of opportunity or career to offer to Penangites. Later we can discuss more on some opportunities that we have. Yeah, back to you, Chandra.
Yeah, sure, again. Thanks. I'm very happy because if I just do a simple calculation, I think in this discussion itself, we got about 60 to 70 years of experience here. I mean, total up with all of you. And the background, we have MNCs and we have BPO, and we even from local big companies that we are part of here. So, so this is going to be very interesting. So let's me go with the first questions that related to this topic today, which is unveiling the winning formula. So maybe the question I would like to ask Grace, right? So you have been in the HR role for a number of years. One of the function is recruitment. Could you please share your experience in recruitment? Any interesting story in holding this role?
There are so many stories to tell. That one that always makes me smile, even on the worst day, will be how remembering, those talent that I seen today. That I see today are actually someone who I actually scouted from fresh from university. Like what Ms. Yeoh has mentioned, one of my passion is also to talk to fresh graduates in universities during career fair, talking to them, inspiring them and motivating them to take up the challenge to actually step up and go into an interview. So there's this one of the senior engineer currently who is in the company. Actually, one day we came to this cafe and we just like, hey, asking him how have you been? He said it has been X years since I'm here now. I'm a senior engineer, and do you remember that day when I spoke to you in the university? We were in USM. I was like, Oh, I think I have some memories of it. He actually thanked me saying that, thank you for encouraging me to go and walk into that interview, because I feel like I was intimidated, talking to engineers and interview, it must be tough. But you encouraged me that, there's nothing to fear, just go in there and experience and learn. So lo and behold, today he's one of the experts in the field. And he said that, I'm glad that I didn't let fear stop me from taking up the challenge. So this story actually reminds me, even myself, that the greatest fear we have is just ourselves. Go out there, I would tell all the job seekers, just be bold, step out there and share with the world the passion, your enthusiasm in what you're doing.
I mean, that's it. Yeah, I like that what you mentioned. Give a try. That's most important, right? All right. At least then, if you never give a try, you do not know. So I'd like to extend this question to Gun. So over to you. I just want to know your perspective on this. You have any interesting stories on the recruitment?
I think look back, I won't say 25 years ago, the early years, I think two things that I think were a paradigm shift, right, as a recruiter during my early years. One is that I still remember that you need to receive envelopes. Remember job application without technology, right? Sometimes you receive a 2 inches kind of envelope that come with all the credential, all the sigil, or you call certificate and all that. So I think that's one. Second, also, I think when we start to hire mass hiring, right? Another wonderful story to share. I think many of us experience that will be the open walk-in interview. No matter you are on your site, or we used to go to those 5-star hotel. They're very proud, right, to brand the company, and you can see large crowd that they're lining up, and just to seek to talking to us. I think looking back, early days until now, really vast different of paradigm shift. Now we have all the technology, the virtual, the online test. It really makes the candidate experience much more positive. I can't imagine last time walk-in interview, a person need to wait for maybe 3 hours.
Yes.
Right, to go through that process to talk to a junior recruiter. You've not got the hiring manager, right? So I think that really changed, and I'm not sure the young people that listening to this call, I hope you appreciate all the technology that make your experience, I think, much more easier, and also more user experience when you get in touch with a recruiter, or even get in touch with the brand or the company that you would like to work with or explore further. Previously is really, I think all of us here smiling, I think you should understand what I meant, right? The manual process go through that process. Yeah.
Even the application form itself.
Right.
Yeah. I think Siew is quite excited. Siew, it looks like you got something to share.
Okay. I would say recruitment is both exciting and challenging. Sometimes it's not so easy to place the right talent in the right job in the right timing. Okay, but you're happy to see someone joining you as an intern. Thereafter, they converted into permanent employees, and you see them grow both personally and professionally. Because Vitrox emphasizes a lot on second home concept. So sometimes we'll attend the personal event of our colleagues, like even their convocation. We go there to the uni and take give them flowers, take photos, and thereafter, after a few years, you attend their wedding and celebrate the baby full moon. You witness the important events and the milestone in their life. And along the way, you also give them some guidance and support when they are facing challenges. So this is something that always energizes me.
Yeah, I see. All right. Thank you. So let's move to the second question, right? So I think this will be still about that. I believe recruitment is beyond filling the vacancies. It is about getting the right man for the job. Tell me, what are the key points one should have in the resume so it catches attention in a pre-screening or short listing selection prior to interview the candidates? So just like, you go to supermarket, they get you something, bling you attract you. So what do you think that we should have in the resume? All right. So maybe I would like to start that with Mr. Gun. Over to you.
Sure. I think there are many factors. Maybe I emphasize one or two to catch so-called the keyword, right? Catching the attention. I think there are a few types. I think let's take the traditional way of CV, right? So I think what we're looking for is a simple storytelling. I think for all the job seekers now, let's assume that you just finished your graduation. You spent 3 to 4 years in your universities, and also before you may have spent a lot of activities or curriculum. I think what we're looking for is that tell us more in a storytelling. Sometimes we receive some resume just too short and sweet, right? I have my bachelor degree, that's all. So what we are talking of storytelling, I want to know how you spend your 4 years. Example, what type of subject you take, what the combination of semester, what the project that you spend a lot of time, and if you manage some project, are you the project leader? Are you just a normal member? And simple storytelling, and sometimes again, don't ignore some of the finer details. Example, you put your university name. Do you know where's the location, right? So in a very small, specific, make yourself unique. That's one, than traditional way. Then we're talking of the technology way, right? Like say for us, we soon going to apply AI to filter resume. Good or bad news to everybody, meaning that poor resume or poor constructed resume will be filtered out by a technology called AI, right? Or by the RPA. But my point is that don't allow that to happen, because you should have opportunity to reach out to the recruiter. Try to emphasize some keywords. Example, if today you are majoring engineering, tell me the software that you know. Tell me the programming language. So use a lot of keywords so that when it comes to AI filtering, some of the keywords will give you a higher matching, right? So I think if those people familiar with social media, it's the same thing, right? If you watch certain advert, the next advert will come to appear to your end, because based on your search. Everything is controlled by AI behind the scenes. So again, the traditional way, storytelling, your resume should be able to tell me more. Then the technology way, give me a selected keywords that you can describe yourself, that the machine can make sure that your resume is on top of the 10 percentile, right? That's my simple suggestion.
Yeah. Thank you. Maybe I'd like to ask Grace about this, since she's in this position. So what's always she look for, the keyword or what?
Yeah, sure. I would say, the resume is your calling card. That is the first impression any talent acquisition person will meet you through your calling card. So call out, first of all, I will continue from what Gan has said. Storytelling, highlight your accomplishment, not just what you do in your role, but highlight your accomplishment and quantify it by impact. So for example, if it's an experienced job seeker, tell us what you have achieved in your job role and how it impacts the business. While as a fresh graduate, you can share with us what's the project you have done, be it home project or school project, your role, the coding language that you use. These are the things that will attract us, and we'll be able to call out. And look into the job description. Look into that job posting. What is requested? Tailor it. When I say tailor, it doesn't mean that you just put in words that you don't know, but make sure that the things that you have done, the things that you have done, put it in your resume. This is how when AI sifting is done, you're able to be on the top percentile. As for if, let's say, in this current situation, everybody is pivoting into different roles, then there is definitely experience that you have that is suitable for a job role that you're looking for. For example, myself, I was studying Bachelor of Technology, but if I were to apply to a talent acquisition position, how for a traditional way, no way, it doesn't match. You can call out how you can put value into it. For example, I know how to I can speak to the engineering people. I know certain language, for example, C++. This is how you match it to your experience, to the job role. Yeah.
Right. Thanks, Grace, for that. Right. Let's move the other one. Right. So it's related then. So anyone can share some of the challenges you faced in hiring the right talent for the job. We're talking about the right talent for the job. So me, I'd like to start with Siew here.
Looking for the right talent, sometimes it's not so easy, because applicants, especially fresh grads, sometimes they do not know what they want. they will grab whatever seems interesting to them without knowing much about the challenges behind the opportunities that's offered to them. Okay. And also nowadays talents are quite mobile. They can it is they not only they can go to other states, then they can also go to other countries. So basically I would highlight on these two at the moment.
Sure. Thank you. Maybe Gan, you want to add on that, the challenges?
Yeah, I think the struggle that we have, example for Teleperformance, right? We hired for potential. Why? Because we spend a lot of time to train. So therefore, we are not looking for perfect talent because we say there's no unicorn, right? So we are willing to explore with some potential candidate. But what frustrates me sometimes when I get feedback from my team is that the candidate missed the opportunity to impress or to showcase themselves during the short interview. As you know that some of the hiring managers, either they are too busy. I know not a good excuse, right? On behalf of employer, we should have ample time. But sometimes let's imagine 20 minutes. Imagine they may need to interview 5 to 10 candidates per day, right? So let's assume that you have 20 minutes of window period to have a conversation. I would say use the word interview, right? A conversation to the other party, maybe a hiring manager, maybe an interim recruiter that making some screening. I think we felt that either very low self-esteem, some of the candidates, they may have good credential on the academic, they have good capability when we screen, because or else they will not earn the interview, right? But sometimes, whatever reason you say it, they just miss the window period. So sometimes we always prep the candidate to really make them prepare, and like what Grace mentioned, try to prepare yourself. And also sometimes we do give them a second chance. We know that sometimes they just fail the interview, not because of they're not good, it's just that many reasons. So I think that's where my challenges is, because on the current environment, the same as what Siew mentioned, the talents are everywhere. They may not be in demand. The good talent, they have every countries, every city to explore. So it doesn't mean that there'll be perfect talent knock on our door. So for us, we are open to train, to give opportunity, but we also need to convince the hiring manager to tell us as HR, hey, this one proceed, right? Sometimes we always hear the KIV, let's wait for second or third candidate. It's just frustrating in a way, because as you know that the talent pool is getting smaller, and also we also have a lot of competition, right? Like today, right? We may coming from 3 different industry, but look at some of the resume, we may looking for the same pool of people, right? No matter your support group, your engineering, like us, we are more focusing on language capability, is same, right? So I think that's where frustration for the employer. So I think key message, get prepared, maximize your window period, no matter 10 minutes, 1 hour or 2 hours given to you, and showcase your capability to all the potential employer that you are interviewing.
Hey, can't just to add on, I think like what you mentioned, I think especially you from a PPO, I think the good information that maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is that for the candidate to have more than one language, right? Today we are talking about in Malaysia, talking about Bahasa Malaysia and then English. But I think on top of that, when the PPO, I'm seeing that there's a trend for the Japanese, Korean language. So do you have something to say on that?
Yeah, correct. So for Malaysian candidates, we are looking for strong language. So either you're talking about local language that we acquire, most of us have the Bahasa, the English, the Mandarin, the Cantonese, right? Then also if you are Malaysian, that you have foreign language like Korean, now Japanese, highly demand. We do appreciate everybody, no matter what type of major or discipline that you are. But the point is that I think we still need the person to articulate themselves in a very, how to say, convincing manner. Right? Sometimes they are good in talking to friends, social media, they are very good, but come to interview, right? They just a different person, right? So I think that's where a lot of opportunity. So I think still keyword, be prepared and try to ask anything that you need to prepare. Can they ask a recruiter, right? Do I need to be more casual? Do I need to be more formal? Because I think different interviewers have different dynamics, right? Try to understand and get some information to prepare yourself and enjoy the session and as be natural as yourself and showcase your credibility to the interviewer.
Right. Thanks. Right. So before I move to the next question, so I just want to tell this is very interesting, right? The question is about what is more important, education or experience? If you look into education, one of the oldest university is Al Qurin in Morocco, which is started back in 859 AD, and until now it's still operating. And if you look into experience, people like Thomas Edison, Bill Gates, Sir Richard Branson, even Steve Jobs. So they don't have a education. I mean, a paper qualification, right? So that's my question now. So what is more important, education or experience? Grace.
Yes, I always share that, education brings you into the door. It creates the head start for you, but experience pave the way. Education will give you the head start to let you know, to provide you a better head start. But if you don't improve yourself, if you don't keep on learning, then without that experience, you'll be stuck. So any one of us here today, we are still, adding on to our experience, keep on learning. So I would say it comes together. It comes hand in hand. You need the education, you need the experience to make the person whole. Yeah.
Thanks, Grace. Siew, you have something to add on that?
Yeah, I would say experience and learning capabilities. I echo what Grace said. Education might give you a certification, okay? But if you don't have a continuous learning mindset, it is hard to excel. And some people can learn and apply very fast. Past experience will help you to gain some confidence from others. But how you execute the task is also very important. A lot of times, students with high CGPA will get more interviews. They get more chances of interviews. But thereafter, how they prove their capabilities is very important, because this is something beyond achieve the high marks. What maybe you are good in exam or whatsoever, but when it comes to work, it's about like your problem solving skill, how you work in a team, etc. So we have to keep on learning, especially in nowadays. For example, during this year COVID, we also learn to work from home. How to adapt to the distraction at home and like that, Okay.
Even we have this forum online today.
Yes, you're right. Yeah.
All right. So this is like a tie. So Gan, I need you. Education or experience?
Simple to make your life easy. I want both, right? So I think let's look at the current landscape, right? Exactly what Grace mentioned. I think education is a prerequisite. I think you look at all the advertisement in Job Street, that's the first prerequisite they're looking for. And experience, I think there are two types of companies. As special skills or certain senior job, we do need the relevant experience. But for us, let's say in the BPO, we can't find anybody that has been at BPO before, because we are the one and only the pioneer global BPO in Penang, right? So again, we need to put in a very learning agility program. But again, to convince people with the right education, just like what Grace mentioned, if today I major in technology or IT, or I think, why should I move to another field, right? But my point is that be open, try to understand. Sometimes a lot of global brand or some of the companies that we represent, it's just a name, right? So let's understand what's your product, what's the role, but bottom line is still, do you make enough money, that you target for? So I think education is important, experience is ideal for my scenario, but most of the time we don't have the relevant experience. And again, same for today, those who are calling in, we wish and we always want to give opportunity to people that don't have relevant experience. But one prerequisite, as I think what Siew mentioned, you need to ready to learn and ready to invest yourself to go to some hard time to acquire some of the either the industry skill set or the product skill set until you become a so-called subject matter expert. Right? We need the interim process to trust the employer. We have the training program for you, and let's handhold together and go through that process. If you have ideal candidate, you won't have opportunity, right? Again, we don't have enough ideal candidate with education, with experience. So I think the market is open now with so many new companies coming into Penang. I think thanks to Invest Penang as well. So I think a lot of new technology, a lot of new companies that we may not familiar with, right? Let's understand what are they looking for, exactly what Grace mentioned. Read their job description and try to pair yourself, Is it any similarity that I can? If not, then also brave it out, like Grace mentioned, or still go gung ho and apply. If you have the interview, and let's prove yourself during the interview. So.
I mean, this question relates back, I think, like what Grace says, right? Education is just like a ticket for you to arrive, right? So, but how the candidate going to do well in the either the work or even the interview itself is about the experience they have. So that will help, right? So education alone is just a ticket. So that I agree with that. Right. In most scenarios, candidates look good on paper, but failed in interviews. Why? Siew.
I would say sometimes during the interview, candidate does not show their interest in the job or the company. They didn't ask questions about the job or the future of the company. They like came unprepared. Okay. Most of the time, it will be the interviewers that ask questions, and when the interviewer asks you, "Do you have any questions?" They're like, "No." Okay. So interviewees sometimes seems to also be more interested in the salary and benefits compared to what they can learn and how they can progress further. Because especially fresh graduates, I recall my time when I was just completed my study. Also, we like to compare. Wow, my friend get 50 ringgit more than me. You know, at that point of time, 50 ringgit is a lot. Okay, so a lot of times, especially fresh grad, they like to compare among their classmates, etc., and they focus more on what they can get rather than what they can give. And sometimes they may be looking more better from their results and also not the practical part, because when you ask about their problem solving, critical thinking, etc., you feel that, hey, how this person can get such high CGPA, because maybe they are good in passing exams, scoring high marks, but in practical they might not be that good, you know. So that we also have students with very high CGPA, like even 3.9 something, 4.0. We also didn't hire them because we encounter that, hey, in practical they are actually not that well. Okay.
Okay. All right. Gan, so can you? I think you touched base this earlier. The question number 2. So maybe you want to further explain on this. I mean, from your perspective.
Sure. Maybe I'll answer from a different perspective from Siew, right? I think look at ourselves today, right? We try to look good in front of a virtual call, but bear in mind today we reverse back to ourselves 20 years ago when we fresh grad. Do you think that we have the enough confidence to speak on a virtual call like this? Right? Same for all the fresh graduate now. So for me, it's very simple. First, understand the platform. Is it a face-to-face interview? Is it a virtual interview? A virtual interview, is it on which type of platform, right? We have multiple platform. And I have this struggle myself as well. Today, if I need to attend interview, where do I sit? I mean, is it the best corner in my house? Like sometimes I may not have that right cubicle or what. Do I take the call in the car? How do I carry myself on a video? So I think rehearsal, right? And then I think due to COVID, or I mean, even before COVID, like us, I would say 80% of our interview process are virtual, right? You need to do online tests. You need to talk to my recruiter video call. So the point is that how frustrating is you take a video call, the background is very noisy, right? The environment. So I think practice, find your best spot, how to take a call, check your internet strength, right? Don't make sure no blind spot. So I think, and practice and try to ask around the value of the company. Should I come with a tie, even a virtual call, you know, or with a jacket, or is just casual? I think that preparation is very important. Communication to the recruiter, get some insights. And also now I think there are so many best practice, no matter you can go to Instagram, YouTube, where I try to learn how do you present yourself in a small square like us now, right? No matter your hairstyle, what you make up. And I think that's simple thing before you step into the interview, right? The platform, not easy, right? And I think I also understand that many companies, right? They say that send in your 2 minutes video to introduce yourself. Bear in mind, 2 minutes, many people struggle, right? So I think, but that's a requirement by that company. If you want to pass the first round, you need to pass the 2 or 3 minutes of video editing skill, right? How to make yourself look good and how do you make yourself better than the rest. But while you're doing all that, be yourself, right? Know your strength, If today that you think that your communication may not be as good as what Siew said, you're an engineering person, your articulation not as good as a business person, then practice. Sometimes you can see either you walk into a bookstore or online. There are a lot of typical questions that people can predict what employer will ask, right? So try to practice yourself. If this are question being posted by the potential employer or the hiring manager, what will be your most natural answer? I don't want you to like just memorize and just
Prepare.
you think you pick the answer, right? So I think
Yeah.
practice. If you look at, if I think I assume all the young people are listening now, if you look at all your idol on the K-pop, do you think they go on the stage without practice? They
No.
practice 1,001 time. That's why
Yeah.
all the movement are so synchronized. Same for us. If today you want to reduce your failure rate, practice and try to get some insight either from your friends and have attended similar interview, or I think the best advice is that talk to recruiters. I think we recruiters always will try to prepare the candidate well, right? If you have some interest to talk to us before the meeting, yeah.
I think you bring a good point. Is that I even have read about Steve Jobs, right? So when you do the quarterly business review with the audience, he will prepare his speech, and he train to make sure that everything that is just in that he knows what he speak. I think that's important. Practice make perfect. And the interview is about you can't make the first impression twice, so you only have a very limited time, and you should able to do that in a very a nice manner, and you're able to relate. So on that, so what is the common factor one failed to win an interview? So I think this question should goes to Grace. I mean, from her, I think looking. So Grace, what is the one common factor that's in? It can be more, but you always see people fail in interview.
Yeah, like what both Gan and Siew had said, first of all, it's the communication. The first impression really counts. So come in, be prepared, be confident, and also know what is written in your resume. Be sure that you are able to share what's written in your resume, be able to, give more substance into the one sentence or point form. So during the interview is where you get to know, I would call it a get to know session, where you're evaluating your future employer and the employer is evaluating you. So be ready to ask questions, be ready to show your enthusiasm, why you want the job and what you can do, what you can contribute. Not just go in without knowing anything and just walk into an interview with your head blank. Then that's a call for failure. Yeah.
All right.
Be prepared.
Be prepared. Yes. So and I think the important that you brought the two things, right? The communication and confidence, right?
Yes.
So I think that is what is I'm seeing, right? Even in my role that I'm seeing, the communication amongst the fresh grads, right? So I think they have some the confidence level is not there. I think, like what I said, I think what they should do is that read more news, listening, how certain pronunciation, understand the company background. I think that will be helpful, to prepare themselves. All right. So what do you think might be the best way for the candidate to improve their self? Gan, since you look so quiet.
Yeah, I think different pool. I think different. I would say advice. I think for the fresh graduate, I think exactly what Grace mentioned, the communication. But I think put aside, I think this is all prerequisite, right? The confidence, the self-esteem, the prepare. Maybe I'll highlight something that I'm looking for. If I'm looking for those people who are maybe early 20s, those fresh from school, the energy level at the meeting or at the interview or conversation, having a conversation with the hiring manager. Sometimes, I'm not sure maybe it's our culture. Sometimes they are very humble, like look like you are attending something very formal. I think what we want is that be yourself, meaning that if I want to hire somebody that with a young, fresh from school, I'm prepared for you to fail in your job because that's why we hire you. We have all the training program, but I want to see the energy. I want to see the hunger. That's on a fresh candidate job seeker. If today you are talking of change career due to COVID, maybe you lost your job and you're open for other new career that continue your financial support. So I think my advice is that be more flexible, meaning that sometimes I know we do understand that certain candidates spend 10 years in a particular industry and you hope that you can get back something similar. But as you know, sometimes may not be too ideal. Maybe an interim career, maybe you need to change some industry. So therefore, show some flexibility that you're willing to have the paradigm shift. But sometimes certain candidates that I'm good at this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You know, sometimes you give us a lot of issue in terms of, hey, how do we offer the person, right? If the person don't show that the younger people, the hunger to win the energy, and the more experienced people, we see your potential, because your experience may not be relevant, but we think that a lot of things are similarity that you can bring value add to our organization. So therefore, flexibility to explore some unfamiliar territory, that companies that you may not be familiar, that's why you are changing career, right? So I think that's where two simple guidance or advice.
Yeah, I think that the attitude. I think that's what is important, right? Siew, you want to add on?
Yeah, so be well prepared, as what Grace also keep on emphasizing. And I like what Gan said, the energy level, because during interview, especially when during a virtual interview, people can see how only your face and part of your body. Okay, so it's how you show people that you are excited over the job that you are seeking. Okay, and you can always continue to learn, and also always try to attend to whatever interview that you get, so that you can build up your experience as well. And don't forget, at the end of the interview, ask your interviewer, how did you perform during the interview? That's one of the good way to improve yourself. Sometimes I'm also very honest to my interviewee. Said that I think you need to improve your English, for example, because the position that you're applying needs a good communication in English. So I would encourage that person to continue to learn certain thing, or to take up certain thing to learn, because they seem to be interested in certain area. So to me, is always because I'm the one that who like to keep trying, and I have different kind of interests. So to me, in order to build your interest, you just do it. For example, if you like something, you during your weekend, you try to get involved or volunteer yourself, then you build up your skills as well.
Yeah. Thanks, Siew. I think it's remind me. I mean, we're talking about this question, right? Especially the fresh grad, reminding a story. There's a fresh grad came for an interview. This is not a virtual, but it is a face-to-face. So you remember, there's he walked into the room. There's a panel of interviewers sitting, and he's so nervous. First interview, but what happened? This candidate fell down. Right.
Oh,
so
okay.
He fell down, and normally what happen is that typically will wake up and say sorry. I don't know why they want to say sorry for himself or sorry for him or what. So, but this particular candidate wake up and said, he got up and said, I think I fell into the right company.
Wow.
And that's changed the whole scenario. And so from the negative then and it was high, and the candidate got higher, right? I think that is where I think it's very important how to capitalize that moment and make it advantage for you, right? So with that spirit, I mean, I'm going for the just to continue. When faced with two equally qualified candidates, like in Penang, very famous for Musang King, you have two nice Musang King. How do you determine whom to hire? Grace, I think this you have most of the time. This kind of situation.
Yes, both Gan and Siew has mentioned the energy. So when I translate that, I'll translate that into enthusiasm. When I have two similar skill set candidate, what that differentiate them will be the enthusiasm. The first impression that really matters. How that candidate give me the first impression, that how passionate, the hunger for knowledge, the right attitude, the agile behavior, the good business acumen, and having the growth mindset. That is really, make a candidate stand out when there are two who are equal. The growth mindset itself, most of the time when we have when we get to know candidate, when we interview, we are not looking for the right answers. We are not hoping that you have all the answers, but we evaluate on your thought process, your growth mindset, how you come to a conclusion. So these are the things that I'll look out for when it comes to when I have two equally good candidates to hire. And I hope that I have more of that happen more often.
Yeah, I agree with that. Gan, you would like to add something on this if you have that, because I just heard that you said that you're a pioneer in this, I mean, in the BPO. So how often you are in this situation?
Yeah, same as Grace. We wish that every day I have this problem to solve, right? Seldom to have a strong candidate equally. So I think simple answer for us, we will overhire. It really, we have strong candidate, I need one, we are going to convince the management to hire two, very honest, right? So strong candidate, you don't grab now, then you will go to other companies. But I think it really need to make a factor is when you can start work, right? Some candidate due to some personal arrangement, they need a longer time to ready to report to work, because at our business, sometimes we have certain timeline to meet based on client demand. So I think another factor is availability, right? If a candidate can start work tomorrow versus another good candidate that need to wait for 3 months, I will hire two, but let the first one on board, right? I think that's the ideal. But again, we do understand not the ability to report to work, really a lot of factors, some personal arrangement, sometimes relocating. We fully understand that, because for us, we do relocate people from other countries as well, right? So I think we put into everything. But again, simple answer, we hire both.
All right. Right. So we are towards the end, right? So what advice, the tips and tricks would you give to our talents who are exploring for career opportunities now? All right, and the challenges that they should be aware of. So talking about the tips and tricks, and also the challenges that they should be aware of. So maybe I'd like to start this with Siew.
Okay. My advice will be, if you are apply for a job and going for an interview, you need to show what you are good at, especially in the position you are applying for. Okay. Just now, Grace also mentioned that make sure that you read the JD well, and how you tailor your experience or your skills towards what people are looking for. Okay, and you also need to have the credentials that to prove that you can. Okay, especially for fresh graduates, I would say, you have to put in relevant experiences. For example, sometimes even part-time or your volunteer experience matters as well. Because, for example, if you are holding a leadership position in your COCE, like your society, etc., that counts as well, because it also shows that you are able to build up some social network, etc. Because you need to convince the interviewer that you can, although you are fresh grad, and show a good attitude during interview, be punctual, be well prepared, okay, and also be polite. You'll be having tough competition, because nowadays quite many companies are retrenching as well, okay. So sometimes when the retrenched worker or those who has taken a VSS, they have experience, and sometimes they are willing to offer lower pay as well. And if, let's say, it's not much difference, employer normally will look for those who are experienced in the job. So how are you going to compete? You need to know your niche, okay? Therefore, if you are able to be prepared and show your enthusiasm, your passion, I would say you stand a good chance as well.
All right, thank you. I like that one point that you say, be polite. I think because we, especially in Penang, we are in a small area. I said, don't burn the bridge. We are, today we are here, and tomorrow we are another organization. I said that's very important. Yeah. The same, Grace, if you like to add on these questions, some tricks and tips, and as well, what do you need to be aware of?
Yep, I would use knowledge is power. Right now, we have technology on our fingertips. Know your future employer. Know the company that you are going to interview for. So I would quote an example that a candidate that I was really impressed with. The person came in knowing what NI is doing, can tell us about our value and why she chooses NI to come for interview, share with me the core values of NI. I was like, wow. It's just this has already, the wow factor. So we have technology on your fingertips, use it. You can find information about the company through JobStreet. There are a lot of feedback on JobStreet. Know what you're getting yourself into. Be prepared. That's where you know who you're standing against. So be prepared. There are a lot of technology and also the markers in JobStreet that you can use, as well as. That's why I say knowledge is power. The second one is know your worth, know your niche, like what Siew said. Be prepared to exhibit that during the interview. Be passionate. Show your hunger to learn. Show your growth mindset. Be prepared to share what you have done, your accomplishment, and be proud when you're doing that. I know a lot of times as Asians, we don't talk much. We are not, we are taught not to share, not to be proud of ourselves, but please do that. That's your chance to show what you have done. Be proud about it. Be bold about it. Yeah. As for challenges in this current situation, we have a lot of retrenchment. The market is soft, but with that comes the opportunity. Be flexible. When you look at the job ads, look into it to see how you can match it, and be creative and be flexible. Yeah, that I would.
Yeah, I think that's important, like what you call out, right, Grace? I think that our being in East, we always need to be humble kind of thing. I think, but it's nothing wrong to tell about achievement that you have done, right? There's some element of marketing is still important, and it's about your branding. You're creating a branding about yourself. I think that is what is missing, because I was talking to these fresh grads and all that. I think the always question is that, oh, I don't have experience. How should I write? How should I position? So I said, have you worked in a cafe? Yes, cafe. So I would say, why not you put that? Okay, in a cafe, what you do? Okay, I talk to customer. I wash. For example, I just share my experience is that after I finish my high school while waiting for the university results, I was working in a so-called a club. I would say it. In a day, I as like a bartender, I need to wash 500 glasses. So I can tell anyone who can wash 500 glass per night. It's only me. So I say that is your niche, right? So I think that is the ability to call out, even though it's any profession, there's something that you able to relate. Like I think we talk about it, right? And you have to able to call out, and that is what the beautiful story that you're able to share. All right. So with the interest of time, we're coming to the end, and I think I'm going to open this last question to every one of you. So we can start with Gun. If each of you only had one opportunity to do elevator pitch to the audience here about the importance to stay relevant to the job market, what would you say? Gun?
Two things, right? I think one is technology. Get yourself familiar with all the virtual interview process. As I mentioned earlier, how to prepare yourself in versus a face-to-face interview. And also digital branding for yourself. Like if today you are experienced job seeker, I expect that you have your LinkedIn profile, because that's a digital branding for yourself, and you can spend a lot of reference how to build a simple LinkedIn profile so that people can connect to you, the recruitment agency, the headhunters. That's for the experienced job seeker, right? And for those who are maybe new to this job search, simple technology that I request, right? You have your mobile phone, right? All of us on mobile phone. Is your CV your mobile phone? By right, it should be. You should able to respond any job application in 2 seconds because you already loaded your CV. And the same as what Grace mentioned, may not be one CV. You may have 5 to 6 versions because you have different potential interests, right? To sell yourself. So sum up 2 keywords: technology. Get yourself familiarized all the technology that around us. I know some of job seekers are not been interviewed for many years, but get yourself rehearsed, get yourself be comfortable. And I think the challenges is that while we're doing that, we're so convenient to apply a job. Employer like us sometimes receive tons of resume. So you may feel that why we don't respond to you. So we apologize on behalf of everybody. We wish that we can really send a proper rejection note or whatever, but sometimes due to volume, due to certain excuses that we have as an employer, we can't do that. So I think we also seek your patience, because previously maybe the application may not be that many that we receive from a normal traditional way, but now it's just so convenient to send resume by a click of button. So again, we hope that you are patient. If you are good, we'll come to you, but try to be sell yourself at top percentile. We'll be there. And technology and simple digital branding that people can look out for you from the virtual world. That's my simple tips.
Hey, thank you, Glenn. I'd like to pass to Siew.
Okay, I would say that always keep yourself updated in the company or industry that you are interested in. Okay, because this is one of the way to impress your interviewer, especially. There are a lot of times that like what Grace encountered, we encounter candidate that know a lot of our stuff, and even the latest development. For example, sometimes they even read our Bursa announcement because we are listed in KLSE, and they know that, oh, what we are, our latest news, etc. So this is one of the way to impress your interviewer during an interview. So you get to strategize yourself and also be prepared for an opportunity.
Yeah, Siew, I think that's interesting, right? So the ability to connect the dots. So even though the employee and the candidate don't know what is a Bursa, but they know, hey, something is a Vitrox is in, and how this is going to impact. I think that's what is the key, right, today. And Grace, I don't want to leave you, so your turn.
Yeah, I would say that, networking, strategic networking, because sometimes, most of the times, we get our right candidate through referral. So build your brand, be on LinkedIn, be on JobStreet, go out and meet people or meet people virtually. Like, today's platform, I got to meet 3 of you, and that's how we get to know other people. That is very important. That helps you to get a head start as well. Secondly, another one will be if you're in the technology industry, know what is happening. Keep abreast with the trends, the business trends, the technology trends. What is going to happen in 3 years' time, in 5 years' time? Be a visionary. Learn more, absorb like a sponge. That is very important to stay abreast with it, in the job market.
Yeah. Right. Thanks, Grace. I think we have come up to the end, and if I want to talk more, right? Because this is very interesting. But I think with the interest of time, we had a very good discussion today, talking about the topic unveiling the winning formula, and especially this town. So, in summary, if I can call out the key things that we're talking about is that we're talking about communication, all right? So how the candidates need to prepare in terms of communication, confidence level. We're talking about what you call be yourself, right? That's another thing. So because it's no point you artificial on the interview, but then after you got the job, you're not. It's not going to work in that way. And then also we're talking about the strength, being flexible, being agile, the enthusiasm, right? The interest to show that whether you are really interested. And to sum up, towards the end, we're talking about that. Keep yourself updated, like a LinkedIn profile. Create one. Create a branding for yourself. And the CV, yeah. Today, if you ask me, Gan, I'm using WhatsApp. It's much more faster, I feel, rather than you say email. We don't ask email. Hey, WhatsApp your number. It's much more faster, right? And be a tech savvy. What's happening? What like today we are in a Zoom, right? And in a Teams, and we have a Zoom. So it's like first time my son was telling me, hey, I got a Zoom class. I like, what is that? So I have to download the app. So first time hearing. So these are things that happening. So I think we need to update ourselves. And we are talking also about the networking. I think, Grace, you call it out. That's very important because I felt personally networking is important because today we are no. And one day we, hey, Grace, I got something. Can you help me? This is the simple thing that we can connect with someone. And I think that is very, very important in today's world. All right. So the networking piece. So with that, I think we can conclude that today's session that with these, all the tips that we shared, the discussion we had, it will be beneficial for the audience today. And I would like to thank the Invest Penang and the Job Street to organize this wonderful event. And I'd like to thank Gan, Grace, and Siew for your wonderful time. And let's make My Penang my workplace and to be our theme, right? And always, right? With that, I'd like to thank everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Penang. Thanks, Chandra.
Bye.
All right.